Have you ever wondered what you'd do if a single text message turned your entire world upside down? For Liam, that hypothetical became his reality. He and his wife, Sarah, were the couple everyone looked up to. High school sweethearts, married for 10 years, with 2 wonderful kids. They had built a life that seemed perfect from the outside, a beautiful home, successful careers, and a love that seemed unshakable. Liam, a talented architect, was known for his calm, thoughtful nature. He was a planner, a man who built things to last, and he believed his marriage was the strongest structure he had ever created. But one ordinary Tuesday evening, a single crack appeared, and it threatened to bring the whole thing crashing down. Liam was in the kitchen, helping his daughter with her homework, the comforting aroma of dinner filling the air. Sarah was upstairs getting ready for what she said was a late work meeting. Her phone, left on the kitchen counter, buzzed. It was a habit of theirs to leave phones out of the bedroom, a little rule to keep their evenings focused on family. Liam glanced at the screen, assuming it was a work notification, but the message that lit up the display wasn't from her boss. It was from a name he didn't recognize, and the words were anything but professional. The message read, "Can't wait to have you all to myself tonight. That hotel room isn't going to warm itself." Time seemed to freeze. The sounds of his daughter's pencil scratching on paper faded into a dull hum. Liam reread the message, his heart pounding against his ribs like a trapped bird. It couldn't be. There had to be a mistake. A wrong number? A cruel prank? He felt a wave of nausea, his mind racing through every possibility, desperately searching for an explanation that didn't involve the one thing he couldn't bear to imagine. He heard footsteps on the stairs. Sarah appeared, dressed to the nines, a bright smile on her face. "How do I look?" she asked, twirling playfully. Liam looked at the woman he loved, the mother of his children, and saw a stranger. He managed a weak smile, his voice catching in his throat. "You look stunning." That night, Liam couldn't sleep. Every time he closed his eyes, he saw that text message burned into his mind. The casual intimacy, the winking emoji. It was a secret world he had no part in. The initial shock gave way to a cold, creeping anger. How could she, after everything they had built together? He wanted to scream, to confront her the moment she walked through the door, to demand an explanation. But then, looking at his sleeping children, a different feeling took over. A deep, protective instinct. A scene, a fight, shattered plates. That wasn't him. That wouldn't help his kids. He had to be smarter. He had to be a gentleman, even if his heart was being torn to shreds. He realized that a fiery confrontation would only lead to more lies and chaos. No, he needed proof. He needed to understand the full scope of the betrayal before he made a single move. His mind, trained to solve complex structural problems, began to formulate a plan. It had to be quiet, precise, and unassailable. He wasn't just fighting for his own dignity anymore. He was fighting for a stable future for his children, no matter what that future looked like. He took a deep breath, the architect in him taking over. He would deconstruct this lie, piece by piece, until he had the undeniable truth. The storm was coming, but he would be the calm at its center. The next few days were the hardest of Liam's life. He had to pretend everything was normal. He made breakfast, helped with homework, and listened to Sarah talk about her stressful work projects, all while feeling like a ghost in his own home. The politeness was a mask, a suit of armor he wore to hide his shattered heart. He used his lunch breaks not to eat, but to research. He learned about digital trails, phone records, and how to discreetly find information. It felt sordid, like something out of a cheap spy novel, but he knew it was necessary. He wasn't looking for revenge. He was looking for leverage. He was gathering the tools he would need to dismantle the lie his life had become and rebuild something new and honest from the rubble. His quiet investigation soon paid off. He started with the basics, their shared phone bill. It was all there in black and white, dozens of calls and hundreds of texts, day and night, to the same unknown number from the text. The number belonged to a Mark, a name he vaguely remembered Sarah mentioning as a new colleague. The late work meetings, the weekend conferences, the dates and times all lined up with the call logs. It was a meticulously documented timeline of his wife's affair. The pain was sharp and visceral, but with the evidence came a strange sense of clarity. He wasn't going crazy. This was real. And now he had the proof he needed. Armed with irrefutable evidence, Liam knew it was time. But he didn't plan a dramatic showdown. Instead, he chose a day when the kids were at their grandparents' for a sleepover. He wanted a calm, controlled environment. When Sarah came home that evening, she found Liam sitting at the dining room table. The table was bare except for a single manila folder. "Sarah," he said, his voice steady and low, "we need to talk." He calmly opened the folder and laid out the phone records. He didn't raise his voice, he didn't accuse. He simply presented the facts. "I know about Mark," he said quietly. "I know everything." The color drained from Sarah's face. The shock, the guilt, the panic. It all flickered in her eyes. The lies crumbled, and for the first time in months, she was left with nothing but the truth. She broke down, tears streaming down her face, a torrent of apologies and excuses pouring out. Liam listened. He let her say everything she needed to say. He didn't interrupt. He didn't shout. He absorbed the confession with a heavy heart, but his resolve didn't waver. When she was finished, he didn't offer false forgiveness or rage-fueled threats. He simply said, "The what is clear. Now we need to discuss the what now." For the kids. In that moment, Liam shifted the conversation from the betrayal to the solution. He wasn't there to rehash the past. He was there to build a future. He had already spoken to a lawyer, not to attack Sarah, but to understand his options. He presented a separation agreement he had drafted, one that was surprisingly fair. It prioritized the children's well-being above all else, outlining shared custody and a clear division of assets that would ensure both he and Sarah could provide stable homes. He was treating their divorce like one of his architectural projects, with precision, foresight, and a focus on creating a functional, stable structure for the people who mattered most, his children. Sarah, stunned by his composure and fairness, knew she couldn't fight it. He had handled it like a true gentleman. In the end, Liam's approach saved them from a bitter, prolonged battle. By taking control, gathering evidence, and approaching the confrontation with logic instead of rage, he protected his children from the worst of the fallout. He showed that true strength isn't about how loudly you can shout, but how calmly you can navigate a crisis. His life was changed forever by that one text message, but he chose to be the architect of his own future, building a new life on a foundation of dignity and respect. He proved that even when your world falls apart, you can handle it like a gentleman. Thank you so much for watching. If this story resonated with you, please hit that like button, subscribe for more content, and share your thoughts in the comments below. We'll see you in the next one.